What's going on, everyone? It's Daemon.burner here today with another just absolutely insane video. I just hit an absolutely insane freaking no, all jokes aside. Just hit an insane freaking upper body, just dense, succulent, juicy, immaculate workout, right? And at the beginning I was doing some pause weighted dips, so you go down, you go down, you go down, you pause, and then you go up. You know what I mean? Okay? So I was doing some pause weighted dips, and I was thinking, pause work is it's very controlled. So is controlling the eccentric, and I've been thinking about this a lot, just from something that I've kind of observed people say on social media. It's been a term for so many years, guys. Today we're talking about ego lifting. Okay, so we're going to be discussing, I have my notes right here. We're going to be discussing what ego lifting is, what do people who use the term show in terms of characteristics. We're going to talk about would ego lifting be classified as other, is ego lifting being mistaken as other things? How do you know it's ego lifting specifically from the person using the vocabulary, and a closer. Okay, so yeah, guys, just hit a sick workout. Basically, I was thinking about this, wanted to make a video on it. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Of course, try to show some respect. Probably not all of you will show respect, but try to show respect in the comments, and let's have a civilized discussion about ego lifting. I guess before discussing what is ego lifting, I will give my argument on what I think ego lifting is and what people who use the term show. So I think ego lifting is all lifting. Okay, trying to get big, lifting to try to get big, that's powered some by ego. Trying to get strong through lifting, that's also powered some by ego. To be fit, I think all forms of fitness stem somewhere from ego. And in today's society, right, the term ego is almost used as like a bad thing. Like, oh, you shouldn't have an ego. You should just let people step on you, do whatever they want, right? You should be passive. You should be just stay out of people's way. Don't have an ego. Don't stand up for yourself. And this leads to a lot of people feeling like shit. They feel like they're less. They feel like they can't stand up for themselves. And in the future, this can affect, relationships, family, all these kind of things, right? So what I'm trying to say is, I don't think ego lifting, the term that most people are recognized with, I think it's a wrong term to use. I think it says more about the individual actually using the term ego lifting rather than the person who is ego lifting, because I don't really believe in it as a term. And I also think that ego itself is not a bad thing. I think we all need egos. It's what helps you stand up for yourself. It's what helps you get up in the morning and go to work, drive yourself, to get your shit done. You know what I mean? Ego is a sense of self. It's who you are. You have pride in who you are. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing, okay? In today's society, don't let people tell you having an ego is bad. It doesn't mean that you disrespect others. You still want to be humble. You can be humble and have an ego, okay? This is a very misconception of ego, right? We can have ego and also be humble. You can know that you're good at something, know that you're strong, know that you're jacked, know that you're stacked, know that you can fight, know that you're good at football, right? Know that you have a large anyway. You can know that you are good at something. I'm just talking specifically about lifting. It could be anything. You know you're smart and stuff. But it's when you start bringing other people down, when you start showing behavior that is unacceptable, right? Things like this, when you start ruining your relationships, when you can't really take criticism, that's when ego becomes a bad thing. And that's what we call egotistical. Okay, so ego is okay. Being egotistical is not. Okay? Now that I've showed my stance on ego lifting and how I think it's mainly bullshit, we're going to discuss what is ego lifting. Okay, so ego lifting it's not a real term. It's a pop culture term popularized by millennials and zoomers, right? So my generation's the zoomers, we're the zooms, the big Z's, social media, and the millennials right before us, right? So the motherfuckers that like cats, okay? And I read, oh my God, I've spit in my fucking lips, dude. I'm so sorry, you guys. Honestly, this is disgusting, right? The articles that I read, the high intellect articles, probably made by some guy with a small neck, and he's got tiny little arms. I'm being egotistical, but probably made by some guy who doesn't know how to lift, maybe has insecurities that he's projecting on individuals. It's just an assumption, okay? I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I am. They define it as lifting in a sense that will get you injured. Okay, so we have a definition. So it's doing a specific lift in a specific way that will get you injured. Okay, that sounds like a good definition. That sounds like something that, honestly, yeah, we don't want people getting hurt in the gym, right? Like at least we don't think we do, right? But I've seen, this is anecdotal. So, right, everything I say in this video is anecdotal because none of this shit is scientific. We can't prove it, right? It's all based on opinion. This is a discussion about opinion. So everything in this discussion can't necessarily be proven. It's my view of things. You guys can share your views, right? Of course, we're open to discussion here. But what I've seen from ego lifting, right? When I hear someone say, oh, that's ego lifting, right? For instance, there was this one YouTuber, I don't know his name, he's some buffer Asian individual, right? Male. And he was lifting like 630 something pounds on a deadlift, right? And okay, I'm gonna demonstrate. I'm actually in my underwear right now, so I'm not gonna demonstrate. I work out my underwear, I work out at home, so I'm able to work out, so I'm not gonna demonstrate. But he slightly, you think of a neutral spine on a deadlift. He did a little bit of this, pulled 600 something pounds. It was good, man. It was good. And the comments were, oh, cat back, ego lifting, you're gonna get hurt. Oh, wow, look at this guy, he's ego lifting, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, dude, he's pulling 635 pounds. Have you ever touched that weight? Can you even hold that in your weight in your hands with straps? Why are you commenting on this individual who is slightly rounding his back? Which, by the way, when you get to super duper high deadlift numbers, I'm not a very strong deadlifter, right? I deadlift 385 pounds. That's my max of all time. I train to be athletic. I'm still on my journey to get strong. Of course, I'd love to get strong. We're all trying to get strong, right? But I'm on a journey to get more athletic overall. I like to be a jack of all trades, right? But for instance, this individual, everyone was saying, oh, you're ego lifting because he rounded his back a little bit. But don't you guys think, like, when we get to very, very high numbers and there's slight form discrepancies, can that really be considered ego lifting? Or another thing is people doing cheat curls, they throw up the weight. And they can do it with crazy form where they're really doing it back. But let's say someone's curling like this, 100 pounds, right? Could they get hurt? Probably, right? But what if they literally, and this is another thing, sorry, I'm kind of going off on a tangent. I need to stay in, I kind of went off on a whole tangent. So we know what ego lifting is. So it's what when you lift too much weight, that could potentially get you hurt, okay? Now, people who use this term, the characteristics they show, okay? Now, the people that use the term ego lifting, I noticed that they're very, almost like, if they're saying that you are ego lifting, it almost says more about them than it does about you because of this point, right? What if, for instance, I was explaining the guy with the curl, right? He's going, ooh, with 100 pounds, right? What if he literally said, I don't care about form. I don't care about injury. I don't care what happens to me. I just want to freaking cheat curl the fuck out of that 100-pound dumbbell. And that's what he says to himself in his head. He's like, I just want to fucking cheat curl the fuck. I don't care about form. I don't care about anything, whatever. I just want to see how much weight I can literally just generate force against, right? And he does that, right? And someone looks and says, dude, that guy's ego lifting. But that guy just wanted to lift the most weight. In his head, he didn't care about form. He didn't care about all that shit. He just wanted to lift weight. And you're coming over here saying his thoughts. Oh, he's ego lifting. To be honest with you, that says more about the individual actually using that term rather than the individual lifting the weight. What if he would do the same exact thing at home, right? Or is he maybe like we all know the guy, right? Okay, yes, ego lifting can be a thing sometimes. I'll even say that, right? I don't know if it's ego lifting though. Maybe. Oh, we'll talk. This is another point. I'm gonna hold on off on that point for a second. We all like know the guy who's like screaming with 6,000 plates on the leg press across the gym, right? But like, dude, honestly, it should be something that you see. Maybe it gives you a little laugh, but you don't need to be like, oh my god, he's ego lifting. Look at, like, it's just so it says more about you as a person saying that rather than the guy. Just like see the guy be like, all right, whatever. It's a little bit funny, whatever. Just keep moving and doing your workout. Because you're there, you're going to the gym to work out for yourself. You're not looking around at what Joe Schmo's doing, rounding his back a little bit. Like, who cares, bro? You're there for you, okay? So I think people that use the term show a lot of, like, judgment. They typically, like, like just lifting heavy in general is they're afraid to fail, basically, right? Because sometimes, dude, you pick up a weight, you try to hit a new max, it's too heavy, you fail, maybe your form goes to shit, but you clear it because you just want to hit the number, right? Is that really ego lifting? All lifting is ego lifting, but is that really ego lifting in the sense of that these people use? I don't think so, right? So, could ego lifting be mistaken as other things? So when someone says ego lifting, could it really just be like maybe the person doesn't have as much knowledge on lifting as you do, or maybe they have more, whatever. But I remember, dude, when I was a freshman in high school, right? It was my summer going into sophomore year. I was benching a lot, right? Bench press. You know, we were all getting into lifting, right? And I wanted to bench press. And I didn't know really about range of motion. I didn't know about all these concepts, right? So I just wanted to hit the numbers, and I was following that 531 app. It's a shit app. Don't do it. Just learn how to train yourself. And it told me to hit a weight that it said I could hit. And when I was benching it, right, I was coming way up here. I was stopping here and pushing it. Okay, and again, this is just anecdotal evidence, so you guys don't have to believe me, but in my mind, I was not doing it. There was like, it was me and one other friend who was like looking the other way while I was doing it. Like he was like on his phone, like over here in this gym. It was like a fairly small gym, right? It was in an ice skating rink. The gym was above for like hockey players, but there was no one in there. My one friend played hockey, so he had a key fob to get in, blah, 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 whatever. So there was literally just me and him. So was it really ego lifting? There was no one else really in the area. I was doing it just because the app said I should do it. Or was it that I didn't have enough knowledge on training, right? And I didn't know proper form, I didn't know proper technique, I didn't know how to pace myself, I didn't know what weight I could work with. I was still learning how to train. Is it ego lifting, or is it the person doesn't know how to do the lift, right? Are we just gonna call everyone who isn't as knowledgeable on lifting just ego lifters? I don't think so, man. Or it can be training anxiety, okay? Now, I don't know, it's just a term I made up, but let me know if you guys can relate. Like, right, as lifters or as athletes, we want to see this. We want to see this. In reality, though, it's more like this. It's an upward trending graph. But we want to always see improvement, steady improvement with some bumps, right? Now, when you get into the gym and you know that 3 weeks ago, oh, I hit this perfect weight, right? Or like a week ago, I hit our last training session, right, in the split. You hit eight reps, three sets of 8, front squat, 225, right? And you're like, oh, I want to do that again. And you get under the bar and you're like, dude, I can only do 4 of these. And then after that, I have to move down the weight. That fucks with you a little bit, right? And because you want to see improvement. You don't want to think you're becoming catabolic. You don't want to think you're messing up your training. And I can't explain. It's not necessary. Maybe it is ego, right? But it's more of like a worry. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I'm trying to like show off to everyone. It's that I'm worried about my own training, right? So you get a little bit like fuck, man, you get frustrated, and then you just kind of grind through the set. Maybe you don't hit as much depth on the squat. Maybe you lean forward a little bit. Maybe your elbows come down slightly. Like your form basically suffers slightly, right? That could be something that I think also is mistaken with ego lifting, okay? So, how do you know it's ego lifting? All right? Now, what I mean by that is you, the person saying, oh, that's ego lifting. How do you know the person is trying to show off to you? What if the person doesn't give a fuck about you? What if they don't even see that you're there? What if they don't see that anyone's there? What if they're just literally focused on the weight? How are you going to look at someone and be like, oh, he's definitely doing that because of his ego? It seems like it, honestly, to me, and I'm going to sound like a girl from Miami, it sounds like it's giving projection, okay? You're projecting your egotistical, your insecurities onto this individual, right? That might not know that you're there, right? So an example of this that I can say that isn't centered around ego lifting, right, is I once knew two individuals, right? One of these individuals is slightly overweight. They had a slightly unflattering physique, okay? The other individual was very short, very skinny. It was a male and a female. The male was very overweight and had the unflattering physique. And the female was very short, skinny, frail, you know, just a skinny individual. And they were talking about, I think, donating plasma, okay? And the individual who was the female said, oh, yeah, I can't donate. They were talking about it, and they were talking about, like what is the word? Precautions of donating plasma. Like, you have to be a certain weight, blah, 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 all this stuff. And she said, oh, I can't hit this weight because I'm just underweight. You know, I'm 4 foot, I think 4'11". I'm 4'11", like 100 pounds. I'm tiny, you know, something like that. I don't know. Basically, they couldn't donate plasma. And the individual with the unflattering physique went, ooh, small, humble flex, in a sort of passive aggressive manner. Now, I spoke to this individual. I know this individual who's very skinny, right? And I don't really know the individual who's slightly overweight. So I can't really necessarily speak, but I know the individual who's skinny. And I know that they're not an egotistical person, right? They're a great person, to be honest with you. I love them very much. They're a great person, okay? And so I know this person very well. And I'm like, they would not say that because of ego. So what was it then? They were just sharing a fact relating to the conversation. And this one individual took their insecurity and projected it onto the other individual. That is what I think happens a lot with ego lifting. It's not about the person who's lifting, who's swinging the weight around or fails the heavy lift, because we all fail. Don't be afraid to fail, guys, in the gym. Don't be afraid to fail. It's more about the individual who's actually calling it ego lifting. And another thing I find with these individuals, they don't give a frick. They don't give a flying fadoodle about if your back's rounding on the deadlift or if you're gonna get hurt. They don't give a fuck about that. They could give a they probably want you to get hurt, okay? I'm not gonna lie. A lot of these individuals are projecting their insecurities onto you, and they wanna see you fail, right? They wanna see you drop that weight. They wanna see you say, ah, damn it, right? It says a lot more about the individual calling it ego lifting versus the individual who's actually performing the ego lifting. Because like I just stated, it can be for other reasons. It could be because they don't know a lot about training. It could be because they're trying to hit a weight. It can be because they don't care. You literally can just, who says you have to deadlift with a straight back? I'm not recommending that, okay? Don't do that. But I mean, at the end of the day, bro, you can't stop people from doing what they're going to do unless this person you're responsible for them, or you love them, or they're a friend, or you care about them. If it's just Joe Schmo and you see him cat backing his deadlift, at the end of the day, you can be like, dude, you're going to die, but you can't stop him, okay? So if he doesn't care and he just doesn't give a fuck, then it's like, dude, just let it go. It's not really that big of a deal. You don't actually really care about the person's health. Most of you. Some people might care about their health. I can't speak for everyone. But the individuals that I've heard use the term ego lifting, they don't really care about the person's health. They just want to say ego lifting for the sake of ego lifting, okay? Now, to close this all out, I want to say, when you guys are in the gym, dude, focus on yourself, okay? Are you there to look at are you there to look at the 40-year-old dad on the leg pressing, quarter repping and shit? Like, or are you there to just get a nice workout in for yourself, right? Why do you train, okay? Are you training to get stronger, bigger, blah, blah, blah? Use the best form, mobility, whatever? Or are you training to go check out what other people are doing at the gym? Don't feel threatened by anyone. If you're in the gym and you're doing a lift that looks weird, but you know that it's a certain way, like Kiriakos Grizzly, he does those Zercher shrugs, those Zercher plyometrics, right? If he wasn't so legendary and godly, you know, I'm of Greek descent too, so like, you know, me and Kiriakos, I respect the dude, you know what I mean? Christos Anesti, you know, all that shit. But, what was I saying? Yeah, if he wasn't so popular, I pretty much guarantee people would say that he's ego lifting, just because like what he's doing, and he's a freaking strong individual. I don't think he's ego lifting. I don't use that term ego lifting. Like when I see someone quarter up and I'm just like, oh shit, like homie's just going crazy over there. You know what I mean? Like I don't really care. So that's just my opinion. Again, guys, focus on yourself at the end of the day. That's why we're all going into the gym. We're trying to get better. Who cares if someone's ego lifting? I think ego lifting is a term that the weak use to make themselves feel better about themselves. But hey, of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Share me your thoughts in the comments, guys. I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say, and other topics that we would potentially like to discuss. Okay, so this was a bit of a different type of video. So yeah, guys, like, subscribe, all that shit. See you guys later.